Hi, I'm Heather, and this is my road to recovery.
All right, welcome back to another edition of My Road to Recovery, Lawrence County's My Road to Recovery. Kathy Ross, the owner, myself here. And before we get started with this young lady right here, I just got to tell you, and I know this segment is about you, but I have to say, and I'm sorry, but your husband, Ray, I had a chance to work with Ray over at Recovery Point several years ago when I started there. And I learned so much from that man about recovery and addiction and how he handled those people over there. Strong, forceful. He didn't take no fair. I told you a while ago, fair as could be. Yeah. But, buddy, you walked the chalk line when Ray walked in. And some of the best conversations I've ever had in the addiction world and recovery world was with your husband. And the stories that he told me were just mind-boggling because I look at this big towering man, he's about 6'6".
I thought he was 7 foot tall.
Oh, he looks like it, and he's so well-spoken and dressed so nice. He did wear Alabama attire sometimes, and that didn't go over well since I'm a Georgia boy, but just to hear the stories he told me, and I'm sure, of course, you know him, of course, but where he came from, where he ended up, and where he is now is just it's mind-boggling, and I just want to say you from one friend to another, what a great man that dude is.
He is a great man. Very much so.
All right, I'll shut up about Ray. Let's talk about you now. Kathy, you take it from here.
So this is Heather McWilliams. McWilliams, we're still McWilliams, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking, did I miss
She
something?
divorced him yet, has she? I got to call Ray real quick.
So I didn't know sometimes last names or whatever, but so Heather and I met several years ago in a different treatment facility. She went through the same treatment facility I did in Marysville. So we have that common bond with Tapestry, and that's just a program that changed my life. I mean, it just does, doesn't it? It's like you just once you go through it, and if you're ready and you're done, that's just what it is. She had been in treatment at another facility I was at and was managing and stuff, and got to know her quite well there. And she always been so good. Like she just come in and she knew what she wanted to do, and she just made her a list, and then she did. And then she's like, I'm going to go to Columbus and we'll do this, and I'm going to come back and do this. And she did everything she said.
Wow.
She did. I'll never forget though the first day when you come back when we was at the other place and you were dating Ray. I was like, that dude's tall. Like you're doing. It's like you were this tall and he was this tall. It was great though. But
you were hyper focused, weren't you?
I was. I was done. I finally surrendered to the fact that I had the willingness to do whatever it took, and I accepted things for what they were. So I took everything with.
What was the, if you don't mind me asking, what was the breaking point when you said, oh, okay, just like you just said so nonchalantly then, sometimes I think it comes to people that way. It's like, it's no big drama, no big ordeal, nothing so traumatic. It's just, that's it.
yeah.
Finally. Thank you, Jesus. I'm done.
Yeah.
Mine was really, my son graduated high school, and I struggled to make it to his graduation party because I was on drugs. And when I walked in that day, I'm going to get emotional, and that's not what I wanted to do.
It doesn't matter.
Like looking at my family and looking at him and like the disappointment of what I was doing with my life. And so I left that day, and he graduated the next day, and I told him I'd be there, but I didn't make it there. And I don't know, I woke up the next day and I looked in the mirror, and that I know it wasn't me talking to me because I never had anything good to say. So I believe in God, and like, you're better than this. And so that right there was the deciding factor that I called Talbot Hall to get into detox. And when I went in there that day, I had the willingness to do whatever it took to do something different. So
And she did.
I did.
And she did, and it's been that way ever since. She came to work for us before in the case management position, doing some stuff, and then left and went somewhere else. And there's this peer support, PRS. They have this new thing in Ohio, and I just knew like this is right up her alley. There's a couple people in life that you meet that just don't go to meetings, but they are about the meetings.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Heather's one of them.
That's
And so
awesome.
AA is like sewn in. She was always meant to do what she's doing right now. The clients cling to her. There's some of them that won't talk to others, but they'll go have a coffee with Heather because she knows some stuff, and she'll talk to them and meet them on their level, and it's like they formed relationships. It's crazy, and I mean, but she's like in this position that I think was just she was always meant for, because she really it's amazing to see her with the clients and what she can do, and you don't have to worry. Like when she tells you she's doing something, that's what she's going to do. And these
You don't have to backtrack and check on it.
No, not at all. And that's great. But to see somebody that believes in a program, a 12-step program, as much as she does, and to see what it's done in her life, if anybody sits beside her for 10 minutes, they're going to want that.
Right,
they're going to want
right.
at least experience
Get a little bit of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to at least see what it's about, because she can put it in a context where you're like, okay, yeah, that's probably, it's not so scary. Like I can probably do that too if you can do it. So
You said something that's so prevalent with a lot of people that we talk to, and my whole journey is that mirror. That mirror is a bitch. I'm going to tell you. I looked in that mirror too, and boy, sometimes what you see is just ugly, disfigurement, embarrassing, and you know that you're better. You know that you're you have self-worth, but that mirror is probably more true than any counselor, any Kathy Ross, any Jesus, any guy, because I think, you're looking at you, and, you have nobody that you can be accountable for but you. And thank God for mirrors.
Yeah.
Because
Totally
I'm
agree.
glad I saw myself in one 20 years ago, I can tell you.
And I think sometimes people, they revisit that too. Even we'll have people that's been in recovery for a while, and then the other things will come up in their life. And they've mentioned the same thing, like looking like it could be like an abusive relationship or just something they want to walk away from, and they can look in the mirror and say, I don't deserve this. Like I need something more. I'm worth more than that.
Yeah.
And when you see that happen in some of these young ladies and these guys, it's just like, it's amazing, isn't it? Like
It
when you
is.
see the light switch
The
flip,
light switch
you just
flips.
know, you're like, okay, like we're getting somewhere. We're gaining some footage here. So what's your clean date?
It's June 6th of 2017.
2017,
Yes.
girl. That's amazing, isn't it? Like
It
it's
is.
amazing. Did you ever think that this was possible? Did you ever think this life that you're living right now was something that you could create?
No.
Because you created. I mean, you did all the work to get here.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
And then I get to be a grandma today.
You do? Yeah, I guess you do.
They don't have to know anything about
Mhm.
the grandma that I would have been had I not chose to do something different. So that's a blessing in and of itself.
Can you imagine? I say this all the time. Having a daughter that's 20 now. I don't know that I would have ever been able to. And this is just me, but I couldn't just imagine looking at them or knowing that they're looking at me, and under the influence, pocket full of dope. Got to go to the bathroom, use, and then come back and try to be all giddy and funny and play with Nanny and play with Grandpa. I don't know. I know sometimes I was lucky. The love of my child, I've said it a million times, was stronger than the dope in my pocket. But that's not always the case, unfortunately. It's normally not the case.
No.
But I tell people, whatever it takes, if it's a mirror, that's all right. If it's a mirror, whatever you go to finally, like you said, go, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it's the most prevalent. You can sit there and bitch and scream and yell and God, I'll never do it again. If you get me off this, slow my heart down, I'll never do it again. I don't know that that's the times that I think it's in the quietest of moments, or for me, I think it's in the quietest of moments when you're alone, or the duress is not weighing you down, your nerves are not shut all to hell, but it's when you can just finally go, I'm done.
Yeah.
No more.
Sometimes you just have to walk away from it.
Yeah, I think that's when that's when I feel like
agree.
it's the most powerful, for sure.
Yeah.
So if there was a woman or a man out there that's really struggling right now to go to detox, I think that's the hard part too. If I can get them to detox, then usually we can get them somewhere else.
Yes.
What would you say to them if they're kind of going back and forth, like, okay, I want this, but I can't go to that detox. I'm gonna be sick. I can't do that.
Well, I mean, this is not obviously. We're smart when we're drug addicts. We're smart. I didn't go. My sobriety date is June 6th, but on June 5th, I went into detox. I used before I went into detox. It's like a preparation. Like, no, I don't suggest somebody go out and use it. I don't want people to die. However, if you feel like you're going to be sick, that's why I did it. Because if I had to sit there all day, then I could hang there all day and be able to not
Make it through.
exactly until they got me into where I needed to be. Anymore, I feel like things have come such a long way, and thank God for that. Because they can get you in that day, or they can call you and give you a day and a time to be there, and the process goes a lot faster. And in all honesty, MAT is what detoxes mostly do. Where I went, it was 12 hours from the time of use that they give me the Suboxone. So really, you're not going to suffer being sick anymore, and thank God for that.
I try to tell them that too. I'm not just saying this like just to catch and reel you in. Like, honestly, there's medications they can give you. There's so many different routes now, and it's important, to take those, because it's inhumane for somebody to detox without those medicines.
Yes.
And the thought of them doing that I won't let somebody come into our housing units like that, because they're going to take off day 2 and they're going to go use and probably overdose. So I'm like, no, you can't. I won't allow you. Like, you got to go to detox, and we got to get you well enough to where you can come in here and sit down and talk to me. It's just scary sometimes, isn't it?
It is. It is scary.
And you know what? I was thinking when you were talking then, when I was younger, the dope was different, of course. I can't recall ever hearing overdose. I can't ever remember
They really
hearing,
didn't, yeah.
So-and-so died of an overdose, or senior year. That just shows you how much different.
It is.
Maybe because of social media and, we weren't able to see it as much. I'm sure it happened, but now it's like, damn. It's
sad.
Every day, every 20 minutes on Facebook. Somebody on Fifth Avenue, somebody in downtown Ironton.
Yeah.
I mean, they just die left and right.
Well, and I think that the potency of it, Brad from QRT, talked to him quite often, and he's had to give Narcan 10, 12, 18 times to one person to bring them out of an overdose. Back in the day, 10 years ago, one Narcan, they'd come out of it. But now it's just so strong. It's not working anymore. You have to do so much of it just to get them to come out of it.
I saw a cop on TikTok that was just exposed to it, and they had to Narcan him twice.
Yeah, sometimes they just it's in the air and they they get some.
Dear God, I asked a buddy of mine, and Kathy knows the story. He lived over in Ashland, and I said, and it's right when fentanyl was really getting crazy, and it was on TV, and the heroin epidemic. And I asked my buddy who worked for me, I said, man, if you know that that's what's going to happen to you, there's a 99% chance you're going to OD or die. Why do you do it? Damn. And he said, that's what we look for. We want it. We want to push that envelope
As far as you can.
as far as that needle will push up in that vein.
Yeah.
And if we don't die, cool. And if we do, cool.
Yeah. It's
That's
you're
ex-
good with. You
that-
just get to
that's
the
when
point
it's
where
over.
it says,
When you got that mentality that you don't give a damn, you're either going to die or not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to have help for sure.
So how's your kids? How did that relationship get mended? Are you guys? Did they? I was always worried. I was waiting for Austin to be mad at me. All the kids, my nieces and nephews, I was waiting because I knew it was coming, and they've never really been mad at me yet. And so I still continuously wait on that day that they're going to have some questions I don't have answers to, or they won't like the answer to the question. So
I wish I could say that my children were not mad at me, and but they were, and they had every right to be. It took 3 years for me to finally get my daughter back, custody of her. My son became an adult. Obviously, he graduated, which was my deciding factor on. So we went through a lot. It was a hard first year, but it was worth it. And validating her feelings of thank God that I could look at her and say, I did that, but that's not who I am today, and be okay with that, because I got, when, Kathy said I work a 12-step program, I got those things out. I don't carry around that shame and regret and remorse and all those things, because I got it out. So, to be able to be honest with her, we joked today about things,
So you got to laugh at it. We was
You
talking
have
earlier
to,
in another
yes.
segment. It was like, sometimes the people they think it's kind of morbid or not funny, but I'm like, if we don't laugh at ourselves,
Oh,
then I
God.
mean we have to, because at some point we're like, well, I'm stupid.
You
Yes.
earned the right.
Yes.
I think you get 4 or 5 year, one day, 1 month sobriety.
Yeah.
You got to find something to laugh at.
do.
You
Yes.
got to, God,
And my
I don't think there's nothing wrong with that at all.
Right. And my son is, he's the one that has the children, and I got to spend 5 hours with him on Friday.
Wow.
There was a point in my life where that
Was not an
I would have
option.
never been left alone with anybody. So,
I
mean,
remember the first time that Donna let me have her kids alone. And I remember I was in my car driving, and I got Anna in the back seat, and I got Taylor with me too. And I was like, it just hit me, like I started crying, because I had waited and waited for that moment, and it wasn't a spectacular thing, and nobody really knew what it meant but me. But I remember, and you just like, oh my, like this is it. This is why I do what I do. This is why it's worth it.
Probably a little surreal,
yes.
I would imagine.
How old are
Absolutely.
their grandbabies?
I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. She'll be 2 this year. So,
Oh, wow, they're doing all the
Yes.
things.
Congratulations. Yeah.
That's
They're a
amazing.
hoot.
It is.
That's awesome.
And I thank God for people like you and AA and just in the 12-step families, because a lot of times you guys are the deciding factor with some folks. I don't go to as many meetings as I should. I go to meetings, but it's amazing whenever you meet that person. There's a couple of you guys that I know. Like, I know I can call you any day, no matter, where's the meeting at? Where can I do this? And she's going to spill it off
got
to
the
me.
info?
She knows where it's at
Yeah.
right now. So it's
Yeah.
amazing, though. I love it.
Well, if you can maintain, we'll leave you with this. If you can maintain any level of sobriety married to Ray McWilliams, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to fist bump you and you tell him I said
he
it.
might
all
feel
right?
opposite of that.
Thank you so much.